It is on air now, right now. All right, welcome back to the Rebels at the Round Table. I am Mickey Coy, voluntarist, philosopher, pagan, and prick. Facts, reason, and evidence rule the day here today. This is an alt-right, all-white program. No apologies, no quarter, no mercy. We do not shy away from the hard questions or uncomfortable topics. Welcome to our roundtable, no holds barred discussions, topics of the day. With that, let me go to my esteemed fellow co-host, the lovely Sharon Monaco, and the unassailable Simo. Welcome, and we hope you enjoy the show. Sharon, take it away.
Oh, hi. I'm Sharon, and I'm an anti feminist, American constitutional conservative, President Trump supporter. And you throw me to the wolves, and I'll return leading the pack.
And I'm Citizen Morris, and I don't have a script.
That's okay. Okay, so the first topic of the evening that we're going to
Wow,
delve into.
that sounded really bad there, Sharon. You all right? Your mic's kind of messing up there.
Is it?
Yeah, it sounded bad for a second there.
An hour talking to each other, no audio issues whatsoever. As soon as we go live.
Oh, boy. How's it now?
Okay, that's better.
Okay.
I don't know what that was on.
So it's that National Review article. You guys have that up?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this is the Obama administration's Uranium One scandal, which is really hot right now. Not only the Clintons are implicated in a uranium deal with the Russians that compromised the national security interests, but let's put the Uranium One scandal in perspective. The cool $500,000 that Putin regime funneled to Bill Clinton was 5 times the amount it spent on those Facebook ads. The ones the media Democrat complex ludicrously suggests swung the 2016 president election to win Donald Trump. The Facebook ad buy, which started in June of 2015, before Donald Trump even entered the race, was more left-wing agitprop than electioneering. The Clintons' own longtime political strategist Mark Penn estimates that about 6,500 went into actual electioneering. You read it right, $6,500. By contrast, the staggering $500,000 payday from a Kremlin-tied Russian bank for a single speech was part of a multi-million-dollar influence peddling scheme to enrich former president and his wife, then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton at the time. Russia was plotting successfully to secure U.S. government approval for its acquisition of Uranium One, and with it, tens of billions of dollars in U.S. uranium reserves here in the United States. Here's the kicker. The Uranium One scandal is not only or even principally a Clinton scandal. It is an Obama administration scandal. The entire Obama administration knew about this.
Now, remember, I want everybody to remember that right after the election, the mainstream media could not stop saying that President Barack Obama led a scandal-free presidency.
Oh yeah, it was the most transparent. Was it? What was his words? Not even a smidgen. Was it not? Not even a smidgen of corruption, and the most transparent administration in the history of the United States. Were those not his words?
They certainly were. They were. And the Clintons were just doing what the Clintons do. They were cashing in on their public service.
Yeah, isn't it funny? And you look at all this, with the green lighting, the transfer, 1/5 of American uranium mining capacity to Russia, which they claim is a hostile regime. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but that's not the damn point. That $500,000 to me was a payoff. It was a greasing of the palm.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's your bribe. Now do what you can, do what you got to do to get this slid through.
Which is exactly what they did. That wasn't for a speaking fee. Come on. That was a pay for play. That's what they call a pay for play.
That's what they do. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, How many? Oh man, these people. I like this. The thing I've seen recently where it was you are 500% more likely to die from the Clintons than you are from an airplane crash.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's absolutely true.
I mean, and then in the Obama administration, he knew that the Republicans in Congress were trying to stop it. The Justice Department was covering up what it knew. The DOJ allowed the racketeering, and then you got Mueller in there, who was part of this, along with Comey, and I would argue McCain, because even with his dossier thing, he didn't even look at it. He was just in such a bloody hurry to trying to discredit Trump that he took all this information and ran to the right.
Let's not forget that Andrew McCabe is involved also, because Andrew McCabe was in the FBI at the time.
Right.
And Andrew McCabe is still in the FBI. He's running this Russia probe with Mueller right now.
Yeah, and the other thing here, like where it says in this article, where it says prosecutors waited 4 years before quietly pleading the case out for a song in violation of Justice Department charging guidelines. I personally think the reason they do that is because people don't have, and I call it the Domino's Pizza generation. Most prats out there don't have an attention longer than it takes to get the pizza delivered to their feckin' door. If it's not there in a half an hour or less, they don't think about it anymore. So these people, they know that, and what they do is they let the thing drag out. They let distraction after distraction come in, and then it plays out, and then they can just bury it and just let it go with a little slap on the wrist, maybe a $250,000 fine to these people, which is barely, if you excuse the vulgarity, a cum drop in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
And then they reportedly threaten people that go public, or they have accidents amazingly, or they suddenly get suicidal, and like the one instance I read some years back, commit suicide and then put themselves in a bathtub and close up the gym bag over top and lock it from the outside, which is bloody amazing.
Well, yeah, and then with that administration, they naively view Russia as a strategic partner rather than a malevolent competitor, which is what they are. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And they project onto the Trump administration what they in fact have been doing the entire time.
See, that's the entire point. Yes, I have to agree. And well, malevolent, probably, yeah. But even in business, if I'm going to be competing against you, now I'm going to hold to a certain amount of ethics, because that's simply the way I conduct myself. But if it's a power versus power thing where it's you or me, bye. And Russia's playing. He's a chess player. He was what, GRU and goodness knows what else. This guy's a chess player. Wasn't he Gorbachev's boy at one point?
I'm not sure about that. Maybe.
Simo, do you know anything about? I'm pretty sure he was a favorite of Gorbachev. And for you kiddies out there, Gorbachev used to run Russia during the Reagan administration.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, wasn't it Reagan who got Gorbachev to tear down the wall?
I think there. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I know the collapse of the Soviet Union. I think what Reagan was doing then. Now I could be wrong, so I'm open for correction. But I think he started the arms race because he knew the communist economy couldn't keep up with the freer then than now free market of the United States, and he outspent him on defense and caused the collapse.
Mm-hmm. So with Secretary of State Clinton's little trick to reset, with that little plastic button to reset relations with Moscow, I think that this was a reset for renewed cooperation and commerce in nuclear energy. And that was what, in 2009? So all of this stuff started happening in 2010. So I
during
think
during Obama's administration.
yes, that's when they started with all uranium one business, which I read it.
Scandal free, folks. Scandal free.
I love Simo's timing.
Oh yeah.
He excels at existentialism. I've noticed that in some of our conversations.
Yes.
Now,
So
yeah, go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just like, this operation and the commerce thing with the Soviet Union in '92 when it imploded, with George Sr.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Um, on the U.S. nuclear providers, they say, oh, we'll permit you to purchase uranium. You're able to purchase uranium from like the Russia's disassembled warheads and blah blah blah. Um,
Oh, right, right.
the commercial agent responsible for all that sale and transportation, is the shipping and everything of that. Isn't that the Kremlin controlled company of the
Yeah,
10X
yeah.
JSC or something like that? It's a
That's
subsidiary of that the bloody hell. I don't even know how you pronounce the name. That Rosatom or Rosatom or
Rosatom.
Rosatom. Okay,
Right. 10X, the trucking company it's a subsidiary of Rosatom.
okay,
And 10X, they were formerly JSC, which is TexNab Export. But yeah, they're the trucking firm 10X, and they're a subsidiary of Rosatom.
okay. Yeah, because I haven't been fully vested in all these different corporations.
Well, 10X, and by extension of Rosatom, have an American arm called Tenem USA. And that's based in Bethesda, Maryland. And around the time that Obama came into power, the Russian official in charge of Tenem was Vladimir Mikurin. Now, remember that name, Mikurin, okay? Because his name's going to be coming up in this scandal.
That's going to be interesting. So, what was it like? Was he like brokering the deal, or
Um, Something like that. The Obama administration issued him a visa in 2010, but then a racketeering investigation led by the FBI determined that he was already operating here in 2009.
oh, so he's a criminal concierge?
Yes. So now we get into a racketeering scheme.
What? No, the Clintons wouldn't have anything to do with that. You know,
Oh well, I'm
and
sure
and
they do.
Obama. I mean, he wouldn't take any cues from old Slick Willie, now would he?
Oh no.
How's it? Simo says. What do you say about that, Simo? It's what free?
Wait, I'm sorry. I was
He's
sorry, you caught me. Article.
it's all right, man. I was just saying, yeah. What was Obama's administration free of? You know. Oh yeah, 100% scandal free. Not even a smidgen. Not a smidgen. Not a drop.
No.
Not a dollop. Not a wee bit.
Sharon, did you say that there was a trucking company involved in this?
I did. And the trucking company, his name is 10X. It's an extension of Rosatom. And it's they have an American arm called Tenem USA based in Bethesda, Maryland. So, and at the time that exactly, and around the time that Obama came into power, this Russian official in charge of Tenem was Vladimir Mikurin. And again, Vladimir Mikurin was granted a visa by the Obama administration in 2010, but a racketeering investigation that was led by the FBI determined that he was already operating in the USA in 2009. So, which leads us into the racketeering scheme.
Okay. All right. I'm looking here at another bit of an article here. Okay, so bloody hell, this is.
I'm over here going down a rabbit hole that is leading me nowhere. So I'm just going to let the two of you continue.
Well, by all means, I mean, pop in with a thought or an opinion or
Absolutely.
Well, you had said something, Nikki, last week. I think it was about the missing nuclear weapons.
Oh, I did too.
Top nuke commanders terminated following the missing nuclear warheads report, and this was out of Dyess Air Force Base in South Carolina.
Yeah, where they weren't even supposed to be in the first place via the treaties.
Yeah, but this article is dated October the 11th, 2013. So this was a couple years after all of what y'all were talking about went down.
Mm.
That's interesting. Yeah, I do remember saying that. Well, then again, these people don't exactly move quick because fast movement draws attention.
So,
And they didn't say it had to be delivered all at once either, now did they?
no.
Well, you got to get the nuclear material from somewhere.
Right.
And, missing nuclear weapons is a good enough source.
Buy down to fit in. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Well, I'm glad you pay attention to me. Nobody else does. Good point. Good
So
point.
Mikerin, okay, he was Tenum's general director, and he was responsible for arranging and managing Rosatom's and 10X's contracts with American uranium purchasers. This gave him tremendous leverage over U.S. companies. With the assistance of several Confederates, Mikerin used his leverage to extort and defraud the U.S. contractors into paying inflated prices for uranium, and then laundered the proceeds through shell companies and secret banks accounts in Latvia, Cyprus, Switzerland, and the Seychelles Islands. Though sometimes the transactions were handled in cash, with the skim divided into envelopes and stuffed with thousands of dollars in cash. So the inflated payments served two purposes. They enriched the Kremlin-connected energy officials in the U.S. and in Russia to the tune of millions of dollars, and they compromised the American companies that paid bribes, rendering players in the U.S. nuclear energy vulnerable to blackmail by Moscow.
Well, not only that, but it occurs to me if they were doing that in envelopes, that just right there, that first and foremost, it denotes exactly how illicit this is.
Absolutely.
The second part of it is people sit there and they go unmarked bills. Well, that's bullshit. If you really think about it, every bill is marked because it has numbers on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really doubt they scanned every one of those bills to find out where it would be spent and so on and so forth. Plus, with the laundering through all those banks, they're shell corporations. By the time they're done with it, you can't find it anyway. But the fact that it was being delivered in cash, that's some old school, like black bag shit.
Yep.
I'm trying not to cuss and be as vulgar as I was the last time. I am trying to be a little bit more sensitive to, the 5 or 6 listeners we have needs. But that's some serious stuff. That goes back to like micro dots and handovers in train stations. So this is some really deep black type operations here. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
think if they were actually to get into this, the whole, I mean, not just the opera that's going on in corrupt Washington now would fall apart, but the whole damned opera over there would fall apart. If for no other reason than they'd have been exposed, and Putin himself would probably have to summarily execute everybody involved.
So, but Mikerin had a problem. In order to further the Kremlin's push for nuclear energy expansion, he had been seeking to retain lobbyists.
Not true.
From whom he planned to extort kickbacks, just as he did with the U.S. energy companies.
Well, it's a wonder they haven't come out and said that he was then going to use them to undermine Trump. It's a wonder they haven't tried that spin on it yet.
Well, you got a lot of reverb going on.
I do?
You do, Mickey.
Sorry about that. I'll try and move that away from my gob.
So, with the help of an associate connected to Russian organized crime groups, Mikerin found his lobbyist, and the man's name has not been disclosed, but we know right now he's being represented by attorney Victoria Toensing, who's a well-respected Washington lawyer. Now, this man that she's representing, he was the guy that was working with the FBI undercover who had a gag order on him. But recently, Trump lifted that gag order. Okay? So now, since this article's come out, he's allowed to talk. And another article.
Real quick, that gag gag order has been lifted, and this article that I've got in front of me that says that they were seeking to repeal the gag order. This article's a little out of date.
It kind of is. But that's only like happened within the last several days. So within the last couple of days, Trump ordered his Justice Department to lift the gag order because Sessions wasn't lifting the gag order. So this man is being represented by this Victoria Toensing, and she says that her client is an American businessman who worked for years undercover as an FBI confidential witness, and according to a couple of people at the Hill, the man was blocked by the Obama Justice Department from telling Congress about conversations and transactions he witnessed related to the Russian nuclear industry's efforts to win favor with Bill and Hillary and to influence Obama administration decisions. But his lawyer says he's got a lot to tell, and he knows a lot of what the Russians were talking about during the time that the bribery payments were being made. And this goes back to Mickerin. See, I told you, remember that guy's name.
Well, I wonder how depressed he's getting lately.
I know, because he's got to be on the Clinton hit list by now.
Wow.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how they're going to transport him anywhere. I'd be sweating literal bullets.
Okay, so when Mickerin solicited this guy in 2009, the guy, he was uncomfortable. Yeah. And he worried that something like this is going to land him on the wrong side of the law. So that's when he contacted the FBI, told him what he knew, and then they said, fine, now you're going to be an informant with us.
Oh, that's nice. So he reports the illegal activity, and then they force him to continue with the illegal activity. I wonder if he asked for immunity or had a pardon already arranged, or whether they were just going to use him up like every other resource and then suicide him and dump him in a lake.
I don't know, but how about this?
Was this Robert Mueller's FBI?
It certainly was.
Yes, it was. This much I do know.
This was when Mueller just led the FBI. So Mueller knows who this man is.
Do you think maybe, I wonder if that means, yeah, I think that's fascinating, because I'm wondering now if this all coming out isn't also being used to cover up certain other things that have been going on. Oh, wait, we can't. Yeah.
See, go ahead.
As special prosecutor in Trump-Russia collusion.
Yeah, there's no conflict of interest here.
Not at all.
It's literally a scandal-free investigation.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more.
Simo, I swear to you, mate, you should be British.
Robert Mueller was the director of the FBI from September the 4th, 2001. Interesting date there. That's the week before 9/11. And September 4th, 2013. So this was under Robert Mueller's watch.
It certainly was. And the U.S. attorney was an Obama appointee by the name of Rod Rosenstein, who is now president.
Rosenstein again.
Yeah, because that's Rosenstein. He's President Trump's deputy attorney general now, and the man who appointed Mueller. He appointed Mueller to hide all this shit up.
Hey, boy, we got it under control. We got the top Jew.
So yeah, because of this informant, the FBI was able to understand and monitor the racketeering enterprise right from the start. So by, say, mid-May 2010, it was already proved the scheme, and 3 separate extortionate payments Mickerin had squeezed out of the informant.
Wow. Unfucking believable. Well, no, it is believable to me. It really is. It really is. That would be Burnside trying to get a hold of us today.
And then the informant learned through conversations with Mickerin that, and others, that the Russian nuclear officials were trying to ingratiate themselves with the Clintons.
Naturally.
So yeah, the Clintons are involved.
Of course they are. Whenever I think of slime on the pond, I think Clinton.
Mm-hmm. What did was that Burnside last week or the week before that said the Clintons had their dicks and clits and everything? Pardon my language. But yeah. So there is no doubt that any gainful ingratiation took place.
Now check this out.
I know some fun facts about Robert Mueller.
Yeah, lay them on
Love
me.
some.
His wife, she attended Sarah Lawrence College. So here's that.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm just looking down here a little bit further, and CFIUS, CFIUS, composed of the leaders of 14 U.S. government agencies involved in national security and commerce.
What's that? That's the antonym for Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States.
Yes. In 2010, these included not only the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who had cultivated a reputation as a hawk, more like a fucking vulture, foreign policy purchases, but Attorney General Eric the Brainwash 'em about guns Holder, whose Justice Department was sending guns across the border and getting American border agents and Americans killed.
Eric Fast and Furious.
That's the man. Were conducting their quote-unquote investigation of Rosatom's ongoing U.S. racketeering extortion. So in other words, give me money and I'll turn my head the other way.
Exactly. So he's involved too.
Wow, this is some deep shit.
14 U.S. government agencies. And there we have it. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in on that.
14 agencies. You sure it's not 17 agencies?
Let's see.
No, the Committee on Foreign Investment. That's
some serious shit.
14 government agencies.
Wow.
I was just talking about the. No, I know. I know. I know what you're talking about.
I got it. And then the month before that speech, the Hill reports, Slick Billy told his wife's State Department that he wanted to meet while in Russia with Arkady Dvorkish, who, in addition to being a top Medved, or however you pronounce it, I can't pronounce them names.
Dmitry Medvedev.
That's the one.
Medvedev.
Key Rosatom board member it's not known whether the State Department gave clearance for the meeting. Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, shit, they were having discussions on an airplane on the tarmac, and nothing shady about that.
Clinton ended up at Putin's mansion that night anyway.
Yep. And then the question appears to have been moot since the former U.S. president met directly with Putin and Medvedev, or whatever the hell it is, and he says, "You'll be comforted, I'm sure, to learn that aides to the Clintons, those pillars of integrity, assure us that the topic of Rosatom and Uranium-1 never came up." Oh, I'm so sure. I will sleep so out like a cherub tonight knowing that. Coming from those absolute shining examples of restraint and ethical behavior.
A paragon of humanity, every last one.
All the while keeping Congress in the dark. How about that? They kept Congress in the dark during this entire fiasco. Congress knew nothing. Exactly. They run around Congress all the time.
Congress it's 535 members of Congress, right?
That's right.
Let's see. I kind of like Louis Gohmert. I like Trey Gowdy.
Yeah.
The rest of them are cucks.
Yeah, I have nothing nice to say. I loved it when I remember watching some of the hearings with Clinton Hillary, and Trady Gowdy just kind of like snapped on her nostril. He said, "Are you a fucking airhead?" Basically, I loved it simply because he just doesn't care, and I have to salute that kind of an attitude of piss off. This is how it is, lady.
So,
I mean, they tuck themselves on having control of the U.S. Treasury, tuck themselves in the war powers. So
Right.
they're, as far as I can tell, they're a vestigial organ of the government at this point.
Rand Paul's a good one.
Well, Rand has his issues. I only trust him half the time.
And straighten his hair, for fuck's sake.
I know, right? Get an iron to that.
Well, excuse me for a moment, guys, as I'm trying to get Burnside a message here on the cell.
Okay.
Oh, by all means, I'll forget about Rand Paul. Like Rand, and like his father better.
Mhm.
Is if I could pick somebody to lead my cousin, it would certainly be Dr. Ron Paul.
Absolutely.
Oh, I agree with that.
I was set to vote for him for president.
I would have, I don't even really like to vote because, well, quite honestly, clearly, until Trump, I didn't believe that fucking shit actually mattered. But I think it was just so overwhelming. This last election was just so overwhelming. People are so sick of the shit. And I actually think even if it was just people voting against Hillary, I'll take that too.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as it goes, I would have happily jumped on with Ron Paul.
Well, I know that we're getting really, really sidetracked on after
Right.
Back to Uranium One. But you two obviously are apprised of the story out of Virginia with the Latino Democrats for Victory or whatever the hell that pack is called.
Yes.
Yes.
Campaign of an evil old writer in a pickup truck running down a diverse cast of children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be happy to know that the Republican running in that election has had their campaign donations increased by 300% ever since that ad ran. So
Awesome.
white people. A couple of months ago, I was saying, man, I really wish white people would just turn off the TV, just understand what it is that's happening to you and your country, and what your future, what your children and grandchildren, what your progeny's future is going to be like over the course of the next decades and century. If you don't get off your ass and do something about this, white people, just wake up, come on, just get up. And it finally seems like the sleeping giant is stirring. It finally seems like if you'll take a European analogy here, it finally seems like Hold Your Dance is waking up from this hall.
Well, I have used a line that Molyneux, even though he has been pissing me off with his cucking lately about certain issues, was when he said that, white people are really, really nice until they're not. I'm getting the general sense lately that a lot of us white people are, I've been past I'm not for quite some time, and I'm pretty sure, I don't want to speak for you, Sime, but I get the general gist that you've been that way too for a while. But I get the general gist that, even as it stands right now, this country is still 70% white. And all I have to say is if we could get even half of them to stand the hell up, everybody else to be bitch slapped into the fucking corner where they goddamn belong.
Yeah, and there's a lot of these white liberals who are just so misinformed, and it's from all the brainwashing. And that's too bad. Exactly. Educate yourselves. Don't be stupid.
Educate yourself like I was educated.
Right?
My education is the only valid education.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, absolutely. White people are pissed, and I'm one of those.
You know what group of white people is not pissed off about things? The fellow white people.
Oh, the fellow white people. No, no, no.
I just had to throw that back in.
All right. So,
Yeah, he's stuck at work right now, and that poor kid's going through the ringer. I'll ask him if he minds later if I explain some of what's been going on with him. That's why I said, I am giving the kid a break. I understand what he has been going on in his life, and I was there once 20 some years ago myself, so I kind of understand. But
all right. Let's get back on track, boys. Okay, so meanwhile, there was some congressional opposition to Russia's potential acquisition of the uranium one resources, and they began to talk. So there were like really four like senior members who voiced some grave concerns, and they wanted to point out that Rosatom had helped Iran. Okay, so Iran's a sworn enemy. Okay, that Rosatom had helped to build Iran's Bushehr nuclear reactor. So the members concluded that the takeover of essential U.S. nuclear resources by a government-owned Russian agency would not advance the national security interests of the United States.
no, hold on. How the hell does giving away 1/5 of your nuclear raw materials, to a potentially devastating enemy not compromise the security? What fucking rainbow unicorn cookie shitting fucking universe they live in where this is not a problem?
Yeah, I don't know, but then one senator objected to it.
Oh, one. Wow.
Yeah, one senator, John Barrasso. So whoever has John Barrasso, he's the only Republican senator that objected to Kremlin control of the uranium assets in the state of Wyoming, which I heard. I saw an article that they're mining there already, or was that in Oregon? Because I think
That's I think I'm thinking of somebody else.
so. Anyway, the House began moving a bill expressing disfavor of the Congress regarding Obama's revival of the nuclear cooperation agreement that Bush had abandoned. So, in this atmosphere, disclosure of the racketeering enterprise that Rosatom's Rosatom's American subsidiary was, at that very moment, carrying out would have been the death knell of the asset transfer to Russia. It would also likely have ended the reset initiative in which Obama and Clinton were deeply invested.
Okay, so what this all leads up to, I like how this a sweetheart plea helps the case disappear. And this is more or less what I was summarizing in my head before I got down here and looked at this. So, and I'm going to read this right off here because it's pretty close to what I was thinking. So, even though the FBI had an informant collecting the damning information, a prosecutable case against McCarran by 2010, the extortion racket against American energy companies was okay, just rubber stamped to continue, and into the summer of 2014, and only then that Mirakin and his confederates were Mikarin and his confederates were arrested. So 4 fucking years.
Yep.
And it's just perfect. Like this, this is not rocket science. In March 2014, Russia annexed Crimea. Putin also began massing forces on the Ukrainian border, coordinating and conducting attacks, ultimately taking control of the territory. Clearly, the pie in the sky Obama reset was dead. Furthermore, the prosecution of Mikarin racketeering scheme had been so delayed that the Justice Department risked losing the ability to charge the 2009 felonies because of the 5-year statute of limitations on most federal crimes, which is what I said earlier, that they'll just wait until we'll just drag this out and belabor the point until people are so fed up with it they go fuck it and don't want to deal with it anymore. It's literally what I just said minutes ago.
Exactly.
And why the fuck is there, if I commit a murder, that's a felony, and there is no statute of limitation on that. So why the hell do these assholes get a 5 years? Oh, if I run for 5 years, I'm good.
Well, they had to keep the lid on the case because it would have been an epic Obama administration scandal.
Yeah, but
And a
what I'm
body
saying
blow
is,
to Clinton's presidential hopes.
if you, me, and Simo jumped in a car, tonight and decided we were going to go out and rob 3 fucking banks, it doesn't matter how long we live. That's a felony hanging over our head.
But I guess racketeering is different.
5 years. Oh yeah, some of the, and I like how they have the different levels of crime, so they'll plead it down to a lower thing and pay a fine to walk away. That still pisses me off. But I mean, yeah, they want to keep the top down on it and slowly let the pressure out of it over the 5 years, so nobody has to answer for it. Fleecing the people, putting the security at risk, and leading to shit like what we got now. What's our next subject coming up is, and it's just eventually, to my mind, let me put it to you this way: to my mind, the people that are supposed to be leading the country are representative of the country, and what they, as above, so below, as in heaven on earth, all that religious shit. What goes on with your leaders ends up on the fucking streets.
Well, just think about this. The investigation of a Russian racketeering in the American energy sector would kind of be spectacular, over which the FBI and Justice Department typically would do a bells and whistle victory lap. And the media would congratulate themselves, and oh God, it would be so media intensive for prosecutions. Oh yeah, more press conferences. Well, here, fucking crickets. Crickets.
I think they
Nothing.
silenced the crickets too.
Well, every last one of us here knows exactly why there is a 5-year statute of limitations.
Oh, of course.
To quote the great Commander Rockwell, the penalty for treason is death.
Exactly it. And as I recall, that is the only penalty on the federal books that still holds the death sentence.
Well, when Mickerin and his co-conspirators were arrested, they very quietly negotiated guilty pleas that were announced with no fanfare, and it was just before Labor Day, so everybody would have been going out of town. And then it was arranged that Mickerin would be sentenced just before Christmas. All under the radar. Oh, how convenient. How convenient.
Look over here. Don't look over here. Look over here.
Right.
Look over there, shiny.
It just goes to show you how desperate, how desperate they were to plead the case out. And here, Rosenstein and Holder will have some explaining to do, no doubt.
Have you guys looked up the 2 sentencing laws under the Section 1956 and Section 371?
No, go ahead. What is it about?
You got the, oh man, one can carry a what the hell do you call it now? A sentence of like 20 some years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other one you could get as little as 5.
Is that for the conspiracy or what?
There's the laundering of monetary instruments. All right, so it basically reads like whoever knowing that the property involved in a financial transaction represents the proceeds of some form of unlawful activity attempts to conduct such a financial transaction, which in fact involves the proceeds of specified unlawful activity. A, with the intent to promote the carrying of specified unlawful activity, with the intent to engage in conduct constituting a violation of Section 7201 or 7206 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, or knowing that the transaction is designed in whole or in part to conceal or disguise the nature of the location, the source, the ownership, the control of the proceeds, basically the money laundering, shall be sentenced to a fine of not more than $500,000 or twice the value of the property involved in the transaction, whichever is greater, or be imprisoned for not more than 20 years or both.
Ah, but he didn't plead guilty to either of those charges.
No. He went under Section 371, which is conspiracy to commit offense or defraud the United States, which is not, which reads this way. If two or more persons conspire, remember, this is 18 U.S. Code,
Right.
okay, to commit any offense against the United States or to defraud the United States or any agency thereof in any manner or for any purpose, and one or more of such persons do act to the effect of the object of the conspiracy, each shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. Massive discrepancy there, don't you think?
Total.
So you pay a spot fine, a slap on the wrist, and it all goes away.
And the prosecutor doesn't regard that offense as a major offense.
No, and he still gets a conviction on his book, which goes on his record.
And that's exactly what Rosenstein's office did.
Balls on.
No RICO, no extortion, no fraud.
Yeah, because it's prosecutorial discretion. I choose what I want to have this bastard pay. And since he's been greasing my palm, right?
Mm-hmm. And the plea agreement was careful not to mention any of the extortions in 2009 and 2010, which was before the CFIUS approved Ross Adams' acquisition of the uranium stock. How convenient.
Fucking amazing, ain't it?
Yeah, he just pled guilty to nominal money laundering.
Yeah, it's see, the way I look at it is, as much as I do not like nogs, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I can point out to them with factual evidence that it's not what color you are, it's how much money you have, what kind of influence you got. That is what decides where you go and what you know about who also.
They're just exercising their free speech, remember? Because money equals speech.
Of course.
I can't believe
Well
this
said,
guy.
C-Man.
I can't believe this guy, for a major national security crime, that he got just 4 years incarceration.
Now, isn't there some kind of a weird situation with the attorneys too, where the this attorney was hired by some other people that had similar shit, and it all ties in. I think I read something quickly over that, and I can't put my finger on it now. I didn't have time to really absorb it. But Obama had hired an attorney for like $750,000 that somebody else was, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out my ass. But I seem to remember something about that too. If anybody's listening, as a matter of fact, can find what I'm talking about and post it in the comment section, props, mate. I'll give you a shout out next week. But let me see. Where are we at now? This is the other problem to tamp down yet was the informant, that
Right.
lobbyist. Yeah, the lobbyist that contacted the FBI.
So the one that Mrs. Toensing is representing, the informant.
Yeah.
So the informant's attorney says that the informant wanted to tell Congress what he knows about the FBI and the Justice Department, that they made him sign off on a non-disclosure agreement, and he was not allowed to talk
That's interesting.
about any of this. And he was the FBI informant while all of this was going on.
So how the hell do you shut up a feckin' informant and put a gag order on him for something that you claim you're investigating for prosecution?
Well,
Isn't it goddamn point to get the investigation out there, to get the deposition, to get... Right?
I'm pretty sure they threatened him somehow.
Isn't that oxymoronical?
Mm-hmm. The DOJ warned him that it was enforceable.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
even against disclosures to Congress. Because, the FBI is opposed to links and disclosures of
Right.
confidential investigative information.
I've got
Except those
colanders more
initiated by
fucking
the
airtight.
FBI, of course.
I've got colanders I strain my spaghetti through that are more airtight than that shit. Wow, unfucking believable. These people.
So they threatened him with prosecution and God knows what. I'm
Now-
sure they got him in a room somewhere and did unspeakable things to him. How much you want to make a bet?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Let me see here. I'm going to pop this over into our linking room there. I forgot to do that. I got so caught up in what we were doing, but I'm putting that up on the disc, our disc room there. You guys can pull that up and look at it if you want. But it's the title
okay.
is Developing AG Sessions may investigate, not will, not ironclad, but may investigate Hillary Clinton's role in the Uranium One scandal. Oh, good job.
There's actually a note that I've got here in my show notes, and I'll read it verbatim. How much of a disappointment is Jeff Sessions?
Oh my God.
Yeah, well,
a total disappointment. I think he's somehow has been compromised.
Well, I think what it is he likes. Well, there's several problems I've got with Jeff Sessions simply because he's vested in the private prison industry, which means he makes money for everybody he puts in prison. Tell me that's not a conflict of interest, right? And there's
yeah.
I mean, it's just an absolute list. But no, by all means, Seema, is that what you had written, mate?
Yeah, that's word for word the question that I had written on here.
That guy, yeah, Jeff Sessions. What he recuses himself after taking the job. He's vested in private prisons that he makes money off of, and he enforces the laws to put them in there. Blatant conflict of interest. He's asleep in the doghouse where these fucking thieves are walking out with bags of loot and all kinds of crimes. He's, to put as my dad would say it, he was as worthless as tits on a boar hog. I think he was put in there to actually, what's the phrase these kids use? Cock block.
Oh yeah.
Any kind of draining of the swamp that Trump might try. I literally think that Trump was forced into having him in that position to do exactly what he's doing, which is Stonewall.
Man, here I was thinking Jeff Sessions is going to be the greatest attorney in the United States ever had. Back when I was still really, really hyped about a Trump presidency.
Well,
great, this is the best decision Trump could have made. We got a bona fide Klansman as the attorney general.
well, yeah.
Oh, look at me swearing on the screen.
Uh-oh. Bad boy. Bad goy.
Yeah, bad goy.
Well, listen, I didn't have a chance to listen to Alex Jones, but I think we discussed earlier that Mickey, that Sessions and Trump had lunch yesterday or the day before, not sure.
Right.
And then this
Alex Jones has the documents.
Alex Jones said that Jeff Sessions must appoint a special counsel to investigate Uranium One deal. Like I said, I haven't, but he's talking to Roger Stone. So, Roger Stone has the sources. That's all I'm saying.
I honestly, right. Look, I'm working on that, brother.
That would just be playing all of the Alex Jones files.
I am a Jew.
You call me Russian Asian to my face, them spot.
So go ahead with that article.
Yeah. it comes out, and this is a quotation. Grassley on Wednesday released a series of letters he fired off last week to 10 federal agencies, addressing those issues in detail and raising questions of whether the committee that approved the transaction was aware of the FBI probe. Now, mind you, I'm reading straight from this thing. The Committee on
Yeah.
Foreign Investment in the United States, CFIUS, as you said earlier. Wow, you're good. I couldn't remember all that shit. Asked about the concerns at Wednesday's hearing. Sessions told Grassley that the Justice Department will take appropriate actions. What the fuck does that even mean?
So he said, will?
Let me just, because I actually have the same article.
Beautiful.
It says, where it's a quote from Jeff Sessions. Problem is that I hear your concerns is code word for okay. Yeah. All right.
Exactly. Right. That's exactly it. That's what I was thinking. It was like,
I'm not even listening to you, and whatever your concerns may be are not going to be looked into.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that the next line is interesting. There's a lot of like sideways speak in that. Like you were saying, I hear the concerns and they will be reviewed. Yeah, he'll put them on his desk, stare over them, say, I looked over them, right? He's not lying. He literally looked over the fucking documents on his desk and tossed them in the fucking Oval office or in the Oval filing cabinet, right? And then the next part is the Justice Department has also probed whether the Russians compromised the Obama administration to smooth the way for the deal. Now, Seema, you're pretty good at this. What do you think compromised means? Because I see it as they colluded to make a shitload of money on the backs of the citizens of both countries and lie their fucking way through it.
Well, the way that I'm reading this is that Senator Grassley has delivered this question to Jeff Sessions. Hey, Jeff Sessions, does your Justice Department have any information, or are you conducting any probe at the moment, whether or not the Russians compromised the Obama administration? And Jeff Sessions said, I hear your concerns and they will be reviewed.
Okay. Yeah, and then go ahead. I'm sorry, Matt.
Oh no, that's all.
Okay, yeah, because it says right off that Senator Charles Grassley, that could very well be. That's why I like your insights, Matt. Senator Charles Grassley has called on the attorney of the former FBI informant to arrange her client's testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee. That's where I said this is going against the Clintons. I know the abomination, that Kenyan fucking piece of shit. And I would really be worried about her having a fatal accident or suddenly getting incredibly depressed. But in a formal letter, Grassley, an Iowa Republican, asked Victoria Townsend, the lawyer representing the former FBI informant, to allow her client, who says she worked as a voluntary informant for the FBI, voluntary my ass. I think that was just a way to shut her the fuck up long enough for them to do their cover up and let the time pass out. And I said, you can't say anything because this is an ongoing investigation, blah, 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 blah. Until the clock ran out, and then it's, oh, well, then we don't care what you say, because the people it would have really affected,
Keep your mouth shut until the 5 years runs out.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm seeing in this. But FBI regarding members of the Russian subsidiary and other connected players from 2009 until the FBI's prosecution of the defendants in 2014. Townsend's client was an American businessman who says he worked 4 years, undercover as an FBI confidential witness. Townsend said he was blocked by the Obama Justice Department. Well, of course he was. He was fucking helping to dig up the dirt on him. No shit, he wanted them shut up. Under the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, nobody that was on a tarmac talking to Clinton about some bullshit.
About grandkids and whatnot.
Yeah.
All the usual suspects.
Yeah, it's like fucking Clue.
Scandal-free suspects.
Hmm.
About testifying to Congress about his time as an informant for the FBI. He contends he has pertinent information that the Russians were attempting to gain access to former President Bill Clinton and his wife, then Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, to influence the Obama administration's decision on the purchase of uranium-1, Townsend said. Now, to influence the Obama administration through Clinton as the Secretary of State, not influence the election of Donald Trump because we bought $100,000 or even $1 million worth of ads on what, Russian television.
Hmm.
You're talking about the
And
on Facebook?
yeah, and the FBI informant was actually threatened by the Obama administration for speaking out about the corruption he witnessed that wasn't there, not a smidgen, while he was providing the information. Isn't that interesting? He's threatened
Hmm.
about doing the job that the FBI probably fucking forced him into doing, that was pointing out that he was the shitbag to begin with.
That's really interesting. You know what else is interesting? It's a quote that I got from George Lincoln Ross, who says the penalty for treason is death.
Right.
I don't know if a person born in can be charged with treason in the United States or not, but
But he's gay.
Yeah, his man thing, Michael
His
Obama.
wife, Michael. Yeah, Michael. Well, that's just like what's his fucking name? Yeah, I fondled a little kid, but I was drunk and I'm gay.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
another good example of look up here.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I threw another one into our board up there. I'm trying to
Okay.
I'm trying to do what Sharon said, Seema, and keep us on track tonight. So
Yeah.
So, I mean, here's the next one that says the FBI informant working on the Russian nuclear bribery scam was threatened by the Obama administration. There's an entire, that's from the Gateway Pundit, in case anyone wants to look that up. I really should be referencing these more. So, I mean, here's a whole write-up.
I got a personal little beef with the Gateway Pundit.
Oh, really? Say on.
I'm not gonna name names. I mean, it's public. If people want to look the article up, they can. But it lists a Minds user that is I don't. I mean, I know the guy. We're, as far as I can tell, we're on friendly terms.
Okay.
Mhm.
They published a smear piece about Pure Spencer a week or so back, where they were talking about Richard Spencer is compromised, and Richard Spencer's state plans and blah 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 blah. And
I'm sorry, but since fucking when?
Publish that article. Actually, you know what? I'll go out of my way to look it up.
No, I mean, since when has he been compromised? I follow Richard Spencer fairly closely, and since when?
Richard Spencer.
Richard Spencer. I can't sing as well as you. Dump it over in Discord so we can look at it.
Shout out to Spin Pie.
Anyway, go on with your article.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it says all roads lead to Hillary Clinton and the corrupt Obama administration. Well, if you didn't see that, you must be Ray Charles, because fuck. The FBI informant providing information on the Russian nuclear bribery scheme calls himself a patriot. He didn't like corruption. He was the corruption he was witnessing when he decided to speak up. The Obama administration actually threatened him. As reported earlier, prior to the Obama administration providing the very controversial deal in 2010, giving Russia 20% of America's uranium, the FBI had evidence that Russian nuclear industry officials were involved in bribery, kickbacks, extortion, and money laundering in order to benefit Vladimir Putin, says a report by The Hill. Now, in all fairness, I'm not blaming, in this, people can be pissed off if they want. I'm not blaming Russia for doing what they did. I'm blaming the fucking assholes that colluded with them.
And who was right in the middle of it all? Right in the middle of it all. Hillary Clinton. So you want to talk about collusion and Hillary Clinton? Let's talk about that. Because there is no Russian collusion in Donald Trump.
9 shareholders, 9 in the uranium one just happened to provide more than 145 million in donations to the Clinton Foundation in the run-up to the State Department approval. What a fucking amazing thing.
I mean, there's a part of me that kind of wants to know what the value of uranium is. Like, did they get a good deal?
That is a fantastic question.
Oh, they'll get a good deal in the end, because what are they going to do with it? And it's been known. Remember in that last article, I mean, Rosatom has been known to help Iran building nuclear weapons.
Yeah, here's the hope, and they're helping Iran with their project.
Oh, as you put it in there?
Israel needs to be put in check. Yeah, I dropped the Spencer document in.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Israel definitely needs to be fucking put in its place. Quite honestly, my view on it is fuck the damn Jews. Cut the fucking federal aid to them. Sell them fucking nothing. They're so fucking superior. Do it yourself, asshole. I owe you fucking nothing.
Yeah, no, and if I'm gonna have Muslims with nuclear arms, I prefer they be Aryan Muslims.
Right.
Yeah, me too. I don't think there's any such thing.
The Persians are by some folk, the Persians are considered to be part of the Aryan race, part of the easternmost branch of the Aryan race.
Well, that's good. You know why? Because Mike Cernovich is married to a Persian woman.
Mike
Cernovich. I like Mike.
I know a lot of people like Mike Cernovich. I just know he's at least from Mike. He's reading what Cernovich writes. He's not to be trusted.
No, when
shit starter, and it's Mike Cernovich has done more damage for white nationalism than he has good for white nationalism.
Right.
So, I mean, if you by all means feel free to continue reading. I personally don't put much stock in it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do. I don't read much of him, but I do catch some of his podcasts.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first heard of the guy, I was like, oh, okay, this sounds impressive, and then he started cucking on, by the time he got to 6 issues in like a week, I was like, you know what, fuck this guy. I don't trust him. He's come down on 2 or 3 different sides of an issue, like right down to like even with the Cantwell thing, right? He plays one side of the game just up to a fucking line, then he turns around and cucks on the other fucking end. Piss off, mate. Make a stand. Have some balls. Own your fucking words.
Yeah, no, the whole like I said, he because as far as I know, Sharon, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think you're quite as far right wing as I am. And for people like us who are on the fringe, people like me who are on the fringes, when you have a hello fellow alt right or hello fellow right wingers, when you have them coming in and stirring the pot, and started controversy.
Hmm.
Not really doing anything constructive. How do I say this without being vulgar?
Free speech, brother. Say what you got to say.
I try not to be vulgar on the podcast. I'll try not to be vulgar to begin with, but I try not to be vulgar on the podcast.
I admire that in you.
All right, fine. The term I was looking for is.
Let's just hope so.
Gentlemanly way to say them.
All right. Well, let's just hope that that's the case.
What, that Mike Cernovich keeps himself?
Yes. we wouldn't want Mike Cernovich giving him a hard on. I'd be worried about him. The fuck?
For fuck's sake. Okay, let's just all right. Let's get away from that subject there quick.
All right, so
Um,
let's go. So the Clinton
yeah,
took the cash from Uranium One officials before the deal was even approved by Hillary Clinton's State Department. So what does that tell you?
Exactly. Yeah, and it just keeps even right here again. I mean, if you scroll down a bit, it even keeps putting up in bold red. Was actually threatened by the Obama administration about speaking out about the corruption he witnessed while he was providing information.
Yep.
Doing what he was supposed to do, and Mr. Not a smidgen, not a bit, not any kind of. Yeah, okay, and like the one quote is, "My client was providing information for a couple of years before this really got voted on by CFIUS." And here's the rub: high-ranking law enforcement officials in the Obama administration knew Reid, Holder, Lynch, those assholes.
Andrew
Knew
McCabe.
Right, Andrew, exactly. Knew that there was corruption in his this company, and the information about the corruption in this Russian entity never made it to CFIUS, evidently because CFIUS authorized the purchase in 2010. How did they play out? How was money transferred? I think we talked about that earlier, which was, yellow envelopes and so on and so forth. So now we're back to repeating. I just thought that beginning clip there where he was, with the quotes about he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and then his life is threatened for doing what he's supposed to be doing. And if he didn't do what he was supposed to be doing, he'd be liable under the shit that they were making him do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about a catch-22. There's not even room for a reach around, and he'd still be picking fucking tweed out of his ass.
Yeah, all this shit just plays out like a good scripted Hollywood movie, don't it?
Isn't it? It's absolutely amazing to me. Amazing. I don't know. Do we have? I mean, I think we pretty much hammered this, haven't we? Or does you guys have anything else?
So. No, I think so. I just got a breaking news thing. Multiple parties down at a Colorado Walmart.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it looks like Trump tweeted on it. The United States will immediately be implementing much tougher extreme vetting procedures for the safety of our citizens who come first.
Wow.
Thornton, Colorado Police Department.
Where's that link at?
Here, I will send you this link. I just got it. Just popped up on my. I'll put that in Discord.
Okay.
Okay. So Thornton Police Department says at this time, this is not an active shooter. The active crime scene, we will update you as information becomes available. Multiple.
$20 says that the shooter either shouted Allahu Akbar or shouted Kang.
Right. So multiple people were reportedly shot down in Colorado tonight. And they're advising people to stay away and that multiple parties were down.
Dude, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
If I were the CEO of the Home Depot, I would be pulling my hair out my face right now. The Thornton Town Center is a big box shopping center that backs Interstate 25 South. of 104th Avenue. It includes several other retailers, including the Home Depot.
Uh-oh.
They just cannot stop getting fucking bad news.
I know, right?
Wow.
Oh, Jesus. They said at least one person died and another's injured.
Now, this wouldn't have anything to do, you don't think, with covering up all the bullshit going on, do you?
Probably.
Look over here, look over here.
Yeah,
Could
shiny.
be.
You know, you got the Vegas shit going on, right? Which now this is funny. Some people, you know, record numbers of people that witnessed it, that survived it, that have spoken out, are suddenly like having one car accidents and heart attacks and health problems, just dying left and right.
Oh, yeah, dying in their beds.
Yeah, and then fucking cell phones were taken, and they bring the cell phones back with everything erased.
Right, exactly.
Interesting.
All right, what's up next, Mickey? What do we got?
We got the. Hey, thanks for bringing that up, because that actually leads perfectly into the Manhattan terrorist shit that went on here on the 31st.
Ooh, the story that I actually did show press.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yes, I have another one from the Gateway Pundit. I know you don't like these fuckers, CMA, but
Don't let me drag you two down. You can read the Gateway Pundit and watch Mike Cernovich all you want.
I don't like
Oh,
Mike Savers.
thank
I just use it simply because, well, it's information. I can make up my own fucking mind.
exactly.
This,
Okay. I see which one you got. The Gateway Pundit. I'll pull that up.
yeah, I have actually.
Is that the one breaking Trump cancels diversity lottery program?
Obama DHS interviewed Manhattan terrorist about suspect zero
Oh.
terror ties, let him walk free. Again,
Oh.
not a smidge. Not an ounce of corruption. Not a bit. Not a tad. Not a touch. Not a fucking dollop.
So
I
yeah,
actually
there's-
have a Word doc where I took, and heaven help me, I copied and pasted shit and then, you know, bold typed, because we all know I'm dyslexic and I type worse shit, so I use Grammarly and spell checker.
okay. All right. Well, go ahead.
Well, what we got now is the details that I've got so far about Sayfullo
Saipon.
Saipon. Okay, I'll just call him a shithead. The
Okay.
29-year-old Uzbek national who allegedly carried out yesterday's Halloween terror attack in New York. They say they're starting to emerge. How the fuck did they start to emerge? They've already got information about him. He was investigated and still on the list. But WAPO writes that shithead moved to the U.S. from Uzbekistan, which sounds oddly familiar. Wasn't that one of the places Russia annexed?
That's Uzbekistan. That's
Yeah.
in Russia. Yeah. It wasn't one of the ones they.
Uzbekistan is a former Soviet satellite state.
Ah, okay. I thought it was affiliated at one point. Okay, slightly dusty.
I do believe, and I don't have a map in front of me, and I'm not intimately familiar with Central Asian geography, but I do believe Uzbekistan shares a border with the Oblast Dagestan, which is where Chechnya is. It's where a lot of this Central Asian aloha snack bar shit.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
only a passive student of geography. I mean, unless it wasn't Western Europe, I didn't give a fuck.
Because that's where the history comes from.
Right. You know, I couldn't give a shit that the two guys out there were fucking each other, or while the sheep were doing whatever they did. You know, I could care less. But
Yeah, a Fortune 500 company that I was formerly employed with that makes cellular telecommunication equipment. We'd used to export things like that out to Uzbekistan all the time.
I'll be
So there,
What do a bunch of goat herders want with telecommunications devices?
that's what I'm saying. And I'm talking cell sites, cell towers and stuff too, not just the cell phones, not just the cell phones. So there's got to be. Well, they need to, you know, talk about their terror attacks and whatnot and what have you.
They need to communicate that one of their cows became an utter failure. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah.
Play on words.
See me bow. See me bow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wapo writes that shithead there moved to the U.S. from Uzbekistan about 6 years ago, according to the Dilnoza. I'm not even about to pronounce that fucking bucket full of phlegm. 24 that said shithead stayed with their family in Cincinnati for the first 2 weeks in the country because their fathers were friends. Now, later in another article, it says they were family. So which one is it? But Bucket of Phlegm here said shithead then moved to Florida to start a trucking company. Okay, so he's been here 2-3 weeks, and where did he get the capital for the trucking company? That's the shit that pops in my head. He got married about a year after arriving in the United States and may now have 2 children, and it turns out he has 3 children and has been living with a girlfriend in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, meanwhile, the New York Times. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Not to interrupt you for too very long here, but just briefly, let me see if I can drag this out as long as this is humanly possible. If I can say between interrupting you and actually getting to the goddamn point. Interesting location of this guy's apartment.
Okay.
It's literally right behind the mosque.
Fuck off.
Guy's apartment is literally right behind the mosque.
And I heard, I read an article somewhere today that mosque that was right behind his house that he was attending, that they had that mosque under surveillance, the cops did.
No shit. Now, see,
Yeah.
I did not know that. That is fascinating.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something. Cops.
Shine it.
Right. Yeah.
Look over here at this unrelated brother / maybe friend.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's fucking
right.
fantastic.
So
Yeah.
what else?
The New York Times is reporting that shithead arrived in Ohio in 2010, a date that was also given by police. Arrived from Tashkent, the Uzbek capital, knowing little English, naturally. Moved to Fort Myers, Florida, where he met, oh my God, Kabiljan Makhtarov and a friend and fellow Uzbek. No fucking wonder they can't get anything done. They can't even say their own names. Shithead was he moved to New Jersey, settling in Patterson, where he began driving for Uber by the time of the attack. He had earned a green card, granting him permanent residence in the U.S. An Uber official told the New York Times that shithead passed his background check. Okay, so much for extreme vetting, right? I mean, I know that wasn't going on then, but still. In a report that echoes some of the vulgarities surrounding last month's mass shooting in Las Vegas, I thought this was interesting. Officials say they are working to determine what motivated shithead who rented the Home Depot truck in Passaic, New Jersey, only an hour before the attack began. He also had 2 facsimile firearms, a paintball gun and a pellet gun, according to reports. Well, I know that much because you can see it on any video you look about it. He also had lived in Heritage at Tampa, an apartment complex near the Hillsborough River. On Tuesday evening, 2 plainclothes investigators were seen departing the community. And that's interesting because that you say that about the mosque, CMA, because no matter where else I've looked at this, that is not mentioned anywhere.
Let me see if I can pull up where I found it from.
Yeah, I would have to.
I'll pop it in the oven.
Cool.
Pop it into the Discord.
I'm going to leave you guys a quick note in Discord right now.
Okay.
I just did. Okay.
So carry on. Yeah, and then the 4 FBI agents came and told me he used to live there, said Vanessa Jones, who said she lives in an apartment above the one shithead rented. Neighbors at the complex said they didn't know shithead. Now, the immediate thought that pops in my head was, why would they have to inform someone that they lived in the building? I mean, is that like legend building? Are they planting seeds in other people's minds to like paint a picture that they want painted? Because I mean, it's not beneath them to do that kind of a thing, right?
You know why people are required to go and inform their neighbors that they've moved into the neighborhood.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Well, maybe for our audience, they don't fucking know. You wanna lay that out for them?
Convicted sex criminals are required by law to go door to door and inform their neighbors that they are a convicted sex criminal.
Indeed. Let's. What the hell's the name of that law? Megan's law? I think it's Megan's law, isn't it? Anyway, I might be wrong. They also say they came. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Ah, um, they also say that he came to the U.S. legally from Uzbekistan in 2010. Now, why they keep saying he came to the United States legally? Well, fucking clearly, if he had a green card, the Argentine Foreign Ministry had. Now, I'm just picking out like highlights of shit. The Argentine Foreign Ministry.
Be an agenda at play at mentioning that he was illegal migrant.
No, not at all. Come on now. The Argentine Foreign Ministry had released the names of 5 Argentinian citizens killed during Tuesday's attack. Now, so of course, now they come out with their the whole Argentinian people. They don't even fucking know them.
Well, he got in through that diversity lottery program, diversity lottery.
Oh yeah, and that was what's his assholes?
Chucky Schumer's big
Schmucky,
idea.
Schmucky.
Chucky, it was Chucky Schumer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually went out of my way to pull up the article, an article. Do you remember the name Tanvir Hussein?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Tanvir Hussein had applied to become a U.S. citizen so that he could compete in the World Snowshoe Championship in upstate New York.
I remember that.
And it was Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand that had reached out to, because this guy's a Muslim from India, and his application had been rejected. Chuck Schumer had contacted the New Delhi embassy and allowed Hussein to reapply for a visa, and then was granted that visa, and then went on to sexually molest a 12-year-old kid.
Oh, wow.
Well, he just picks the winners.
This is not the first time that fucking Chuck, the goddamn, just the greasiest kike face on that guy I've ever seen in my entire life. This is not the first, and these. You know what? You calm down. Because I'm about to start screaming into the microphones, and nobody wants to listen to that.
Hey, I mean, he's sponsoring pedophiles.
Well, I will agree with you on this much, CMA.
You've got this kike in New York, and he's literally going out of his way to get green cards for terrorists and pedophiles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's going out of his. I wonder why it is that a Jew would have an agenda of bringing terrorists and pedophiles into a country that they only have dual citizenship.
Oh, come on, Goy. No.
It's like that. Have you two ever seen that meme of a beaver that's got a little thought bubble above its head, and it says, and then it's got a little duck, and it says, "Must fly south of the wind." And it's got a Jew, and it says, "I must undermine the host nation."
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I mean, come on, Goy. You're starting to sound like one of them tinfoil fucking hot fedoras wearing motherfuckers. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that guy just Oh,
I love me a good fedora.
I agree with you at the point. I see that guy's face. I literally on the telly. I want to take a sledgehammer to the fucking thing. Not the telly, his face.
Hmm.
I can't stand that slimy bastard. If it's crooked, if it's immoral, if it's evil, if it's slimy, if it's dark, that fucking Jew bastard's always got something to do with it. Every fucking time I look.
Let me just step real quick. You're not actually going to take a hand, Chuck Schumer's face.
No.
It is this. This is a. In theory, this is a thought that you may have had, but for legal reasons, you're not going to.
Oh no. No, not at all.
Disclaimer out there before
Right.
to knock at the door at 4 o'clock in the morning.
No, that's true. No, it has been a thought that has crossed my mind that boy, wouldn't that just make me feel better? Because I just cannot stand the thought that the slime that this guy has let in. You know, and then you saying that actually brings up, believe it or not, the exact same point for this stuff that I have highlighted here. But no, I won't go after anybody that has not, directly attacked me. I don't believe in anything but defense or personal protection, as it was. But shithead, now this is funny. Shithead jumped the barrier and turned his truck onto the West Side Highway bike path at 3:05 p.m. Tuesday and began a vicious 20-block run that saw him mow down unexpected cyclists, pedestrians. The sunny fall day along the Houston River erupted in chaos. Now, mind you, this is all about the time where high school was finishing up. There were small kids out with their parents walking the bike paths. I personally think he was going for the kids because he hit a fucking bus, a small, what do they call it, a short bus for
Yeah.
like handicapped kids.
By the way, that's in my show notes. I read an article that said that he actually let me go to the notes here real quick. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Deliberately targeted children. Went after a school bus, and not only did he deliberately go after children, but he also chose October 21st, because he once again deliberately wanted to attack children, wanted to make sure that there were a lot of children out, wanted to make sure that he deliberately targeted children.
Exactly. And see, that's the part that fucking really just gets me as violently angry as you were getting a moment ago.
Yeah, and he asked the investigators if they would hang a ISIS flag in his room, and that he felt very happy about what he did, and he's got no remorse.
Damn, I didn't myself in time.
What were those part of your notes?
They were about them hanging, and then pause for just a second. And I couldn't
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes I can't think quick.
And then there's that illustrious fucking intellectual Governor Andrew Cuomo that said during yesterday's press conference that there is no evidence of a wider plot, followed by we have recently seen attacks like this throughout the world. You can't make stupid like that the fuck up. There's no evidence that this is a wider plot, but we see this everywhere now.
Oh yeah. Fun fact: New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, brothers.
I did know that. I did
not. I didn't know that.
Well, just like the what is it? The other brothers, the Kike brothers that fucking had lunch every goddamn day during the last thing we were talking about. I forgot all about that until right now.
You're gonna have to.
Well, even Schumer, like Schmucky Schumer, I can't remember their names. I'll have to pull it up. Sorry to the crowd too. It just popped in my head and I said something about it. But the two brothers, there was a brother that worked for He was high level in like the government agencies, and the other one actually was an elected official, and they ate lunch every day, and they colluded all kinds of shit, and they only cut the ties after the fact, after shit started coming out to try and, of course, distance themselves,
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. What else we got? Shithead was previously known to authorities for his direct ties to other terrorism suspects under investigation. And, he's a lone wolf. No, he's a known wolf. That makes
They knew about him
terror
before.
attack carried out by the United States in recent years was committed by some asshole they already fucking knew, investigated, talked to. I mean, even ABC News has reported that Shithead was questioned by Homeland Security in 2015, and they fucking knew it and gave him a green card anyway. You got Shithead, who was interviewed in 2015.
Can you like talk
Okay. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I mean, he had his name and address listed as a point of contact for two different men whose names were entered into the counterterrorism and criminal exploitation units list after they got here from threat countries on the federal, one federal official told ABC News. So even fucking left-wing media is like, oh, we can't hide this shit now, right? I mean, one of the two men that he talked to has vanished. Oh, isn't that fucking lovely? And is being actively sought by federal agents as a suspected terrorist. Well, you had this fucking asshole as a suspected terrorist, and you did fuck all. He's not even an actual citizen, which means he has no constitutional rights. You pick his fucking ass, throw him down to Guantanamo, and let him see what it's like to drown for a couple of days.
Exactly.
I always thought, and I was taught before, getting all this, getting legalized here, that the Constitution only applied if you were a citizen. That was for us, it's not a fucking blanket document. Why didn't they open a case file when they knew he was directly tied to these people? Doesn't the idea of being a point of contact for two terrorist suspects, like, fucking put up a flag? We got to wait till like 30 people are fucking dead, and he was aiming for kids. Why wasn't and what the fuck is a diversity visa anyway? And why the hell would we be using them?
Well, the diversity visa it was something that, of course, was a Chucky Schumer was the brainchild of this, and this was supposed to allow immigrants in from countries that we didn't have any of. So Uzbekistan, we have none of those. So that's what it was geared towards. People that we didn't have from countries.
Okay, so that was the only.
Yeah. So
in other words, they polish a turd, but it's still shit.
So basically, it was a lottery for individuals from nations with fewer immigrants in the U.S.
I see. Because I was.
How dare you malign the good name of all of these rocket scientists and brain surgeons that are coming into the United States to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do?
So President Trump called for an end to that, by the way, today. And he also called for an end to chain migration. So, and not only that, but that Saipov guy, he brought in 23 people with him since 2010. So that's another reason why Trump is calling to get rid of the chain migration.
Right. Now, I did see that somebody asked Trump if he would send this asshole to Guantanamo Bay. And he said, I would certainly consider that, yes. And I'm like, fucking hell. Finally, his balls have dropped. There's somebody actually that has the balls to do so. I'd want to see it. I'll believe it when I see it, but I actually want to see that.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is. The Schumer proposal would have set aside 75,000 visas a year for diversity immigrants. 112 under this proposal would be separated into high admission regions and low admission regions, which would be high admission states and low admission states. And I've noticed it's always a fucking kike, and it's always a goddamn Democrat that does this shit. every fucking time. And it was the regions in the Schumer proposal were what? Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, excluding Mexico, Oceania, and South America, Mexico, Central America, yeah, and the Caribbean. And I'm killing it. This is killing me because it says once the negotiators had reached an agreement that Senator Simpson could live with, a conference committee was appointed within a 4-day period, and the conferees met, agreed, and issued a report to both the House and the Senate. Approved the final report 128 as passed. The Immigration Diversity Transition Program would allot 40,000 visas per year in 1992, 1993, 1994 to nationals of adversely affected countries as defined by the 1986 Diversity Program. So in other words,
5,000. Jesus Christ.
That's literally a lottery. Oh, look, we won't even bother checking this nigger. He just happens to be from here. What about this kike lover over here? What about this fucking shit eater over here? He's only fucked 400 kids and, mutilated 7,000 of them. Fuck it. He won the lottery. We picked his name out of a fucking hat.
So yeah, Trump ripped Schumer a new asshole with a tweet this morning. He said, Senator Chuck Schumer helping to import Europe's problems. We will stop this craziness.
You know what else I think is funny? Now, this popped into my head. I read this earlier and I forgot to put it in my notes. But do you remember when they were saying about the Vegas shooter, how he had no real online footprint?
Yeah.
Isn't this funny? Details of the life of the suspect who had connections, right, to all these people, but no known social media accounts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting? No foot.
Just contacts the old-fashioned way with a Rolodex and a pen and a book.
Right. Doing the old pass off in the train station shit. And I did see in the Cincinnati Enquirer said he wouldn't go to parties. He used to come home, rest, and leave and go back to work. Well, how the fuck would you know that unless you lived there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm just going to take this time to jump in here.
Yeah.
Talking about Trump and the rollback of the diversity immigration out of the best news website in the entire world, the Daily Stormer.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
This was published today by Anglin. Trump vows to punish animals in non-merit-based immigration. Trump has on which to just declare a total shutdown of immigration. Just shut it all down. Close the border. Don't let anyone in unless they're a U.S. citizen. But apparently, he isn't going to do that. In cap of a tweet from Donald Trump, 2:26 p.m. today. Quote, we mourn the horrifying terrorist attack in New York City. All of America is praying and grieving for the families who lost their precious loved ones. Now quoting our Fox News, and I'm because they quote quite a lot of the article. President Trump vowed Wednesday to scrap the federal immigration program that allowed the New York City truck terrorist to enter the United States. Let me just correct Fox News here. Give Home Depot a little bit of bad press. Blah 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 blah. The federal immigration program that allowed the New York City Home Depot rental truck terrorist to enter the United States and said animals, like the suspect in Tuesday's attack, belong in Guantanamo Bay. Down here a little further, once again, still from Fox News. Even then, the legality of such a move is not clear. Maybe I shouldn't skip around too much here. It must be referring to sending Saipov to Guantanamo Bay. Sarah Sanders said, quote, I believe we would consider this person to be an enemy combatant, yes, in regards to him going to Gitmo. Even then, the legality of this move is not clear, as Saipov was a lawful resident of the United States and no terrorist has been sent to Gitmo under such circumstances. Sanders told reporters that when it comes to sending Saipov to Guantanamo, the president would support that, but He wasn't necessarily advocating for it. Blah, blah, blah. The type of visa Saipov possessed could theoretically have allowed dozens of his family members into the United States, which, as we've just found out, there were almost 2 dozen of his family members into the United States via chain migration. Quote, we will take all of the necessary steps to take care of our communities and our country as a whole, Trump said on Wednesday. What we have now is a joke and a laughingstock. Back to the Daily Stormer now. This is Anglin writing here. This is a joke. The entire country is a joke. Quote, false quote, if you will. Come here and live off us as parasites. You can also murder us on the streets if you like. A diversity visa, this monkey was here on. We've got yet another Jew behind that particular program. Screen caps. Once again, I cannot recommend the Daily Stormer highly enough for people who can read the news. People who want real news. Donald Trump's Twitter. The terrorists came into our country through what is called the Diversity Visa Lottery Program, a Chuck Schumer beauty. I want merit-based. We're fighting hard for merit-based immigration. No more Democrat lottery systems. We must get much tougher and smarter. Senator Chuck Schumer, helping to import Europe's problems, said retired Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Shaffer. We must stop this craziness. Back to the Daily Stormer. We need to shut this down. Shut all of it down. There are more attacks coming, I'm sure. We're soon going to be like Europe, where it happens every day. Maybe then the president will have some leverage to get these people the hell out of our country, or at least stop so many millions from coming in.
Right.
Damn.
That's a good one. That is some good stuff, because people are getting pissed off because people see what's going on in Europe, and it's hell. Nobody wants that here.
Well, it's a travesty, and it's one of a handful of current genocide and ethnic cleansing programs that seems to be swept under the rug.
Yeah, and they always lend back to the fucking kikes.
Well, you know what? I have a lot of faith in Trump and that he will do the right thing when it comes to immigration. He ran on that. It was one of his campaign promises. And, you know, I think he's working to get it done. He has been working to get things done. The problem is we've got GOP establishment Republicans obstructing his agenda, as well as the Democrats. So I'm not saying that it was a good thing that this happened, but I think it did piss Trump off enough to finally put his foot down and say, you know what, fuck this shit. We're doing something about it, and we're doing it now.
Well, my entire take on the whole goddamn thing is shut it down. Shut it all down. Nobody in. You extreme vet everyone. If they so much as fucking farted in the general direction of a jihadist, get their fucking ass out. Hey, listen, like I said, I got the wood chipper. Just, I'll take donations of gas and I'll feed the fucker myself. No fucking problem. Let's get these fuckers the hell out of here. You know, done with it. And if you don't fucking like it, you nogs or whatever, I don't give a shit. You can fucking go the same way too. If you're not here to help, you're not here to improve it, you're not here to work, you're not here to, you know, contribute, then you have either you need to get the fuck out or you have no business breathing and you can be physically removed. Like Cantwell says, get a fucking Pinochet and have a good time with it.
So I'm going to jump in here with a Daily Caller. The media outlets and journalists are already warning of anti-Muslim backlash and Islamophobia after an ISIS-inspired terrorist killed 8 in New York. Okay, so Saipov, he kills 8 people with a truck, and now he yells Allah Akbar, and now the media wants to be apologists. So who is this? MSNBC anchor Stephanie Rule, I cannot stand her, tweeted that Muslims should not fear retaliation, just as my white American dad didn't after the brutal Las Vegas massacre, seemingly forgetting that investigators still have not determined a motive in the Las Vegas shooting. So, Muslims should not be in fear of retaliation. Please. After a truck mows over people, leaving 8 dead and 12 in the hospital.
Right.
You know, this little 5'7" man with Saipov, I'm honestly surprised with the fact that he's not really dark brown skinned Muslim. Really surprised that they didn't try and spin it as white man goes on a Home Depot.
Simo, I saw a picture side by side of two the same shot where CNN tried to whiten the guy's skin. Yeah, they did it again. I didn't post it. I should have.
These fuckers are so goddamn pathetic.
Once again, I just want to comment here. Just want to say this again. I hope this really sinks into anybody who's listening. This guy is.
For fuck's sake.
Jeez.
Nobody finds that as funny as I do.
I'm actually just sitting here with a big grin on my face, shaking my head like, for fuck's sake.
I am too. I mean, 5'7" or not, he did get out of his truck. I mean, that's why he had to use a truck. He got out of his truck, waving around a pellet gun and a paintball gun. Nobody knew what it was. They thought he was armed. And the one off-duty cop shot him. Well, actually, no, he wasn't off duty. He was responding to a call to a school about a suicidal student, and he happened to just be in the area, so he wasn't off duty. I'm sorry, my bad.
I can kind of sympathize with that student. I wouldn't want to live in New York City.
Oh man, unfucking believable. I'm sure that there's going to be more lies and twists and turns and bullshit coming out, but like I said,
I've got more Chuck Schumer news here.
Go ahead. Sure.
Hey, lay it on me.
This is out of the Jewish Telegraph, JTA.org.
Mm.
Furious Schumer rejects Trump's personal criticism after New York terror attack. Schumer, a New York Democrat, accused Trump of politicizing the deadly attack. Now, I'm actually going to stop right there. I'm sure are familiar with the old line. Never let a good. What is it? Never let.
Oh crisis. Yeah, isn't that what the Democrats said?
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, never let a good crisis go to waste. So for once in the Republicans' cucking of history, they've got somebody saying, wait a second, maybe these dual citizenship possessing Democrat agents, maybe their diversity lottery immigration scheme needs to come to an end. Oh God! He's attacking me. He's politicizing the attack.
The dirty boy.
Yeah, he went on to say, quote, Schumer went on to say, "I've always believed and continue to believe that immigration is good for America." Now, once again, I'm gonna stop right here. This is why you guys. This is why I only get show notes on one news story. By the way, we're gonna be here for the next 7 hours analyzing this one article. Now, listen. This is a Jew. This is a Jew. In the United States. And he's saying immigration is good for America. This continued immigration of low-skilled, generally low intelligence migrants from God knows what third world hellhole. This is good for the United States. Let me just repeat that. Charles Schumer thinks that importing Uzbekis to run over children during Halloween. Who thinks this is good for America? Senator Charles Schumer thinks it's good for America to import Indians that come into the United States and molest 12-year-old girls. Charles Schumer thinks that that is good for America. I just want everyone to let that sink in. Just let that go deep underneath the skin, past the fatty tissue and muscle, so that you know in your bones, you know that Charles Schumer thinks that terrorism and pedophilia is good for America, and importing more of that from the third world is good for America.
I'd say vote him out.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Not in New York, it's not.
You never know. You know, Steve Bannon's been working pretty hard at trying to, you know, find some good people to run against the swamp. And it's up to the,
Oh, sorry, continue.
I was going to say, it's up to the electorate. I mean, Donald Trump can't drain the swamp all himself. It's up to us.
Okay, all right. Let me blackpill you a little bit, and I'm gonna apologize in advance for this. Number one, for blackpilling you,
Okay.
and number two, for stealing material from Fascination. Shout out to Jazz Hands Deals for this bit of information. All right, so the United States is so extremely polarized at this point in time that, for example, California Democrat has no fear of being run out of office by a Republican. You're not gonna get a Republican to represent San Francisco. You're not gonna get a Republican to represent where is it that Maxine Waters is from?
She's from San Francisco, I thought.
No, that's
She's Sacramento? She's from California. I know that.
yeah, no, Maxine Waters is it's either Compton or Inglewood, one of those extremely ghettoized areas of Los Angeles. She's the representative of LA.
Okay.
And like she's not going to be voted out of office, especially by a white Republican man. Those coons are not going to go to the ballot box and check hard on a voting slip. They're just not going to do it.
I don't know.
There are certain areas where there are certain areas in this country where political parties essentially have a monopoly on power. For example, California. And there are areas of, let's use Oklahoma, Texas, maybe even, and a lot of areas in Texas still, where you're not going to get a Democrat in office, no matter how hard you try. So with the Steve Bannon thing, and this is a little bit topical, but with the Steve Bannon thing, what I think he's doing, and I think Jazz Hands described his analysis of this. What Steve Bannon is doing is he's ripping apart the Republican Party, and he's putting America Firsters. He's putting Trumpian candidates into positions where they can legitimately challenge Republican stronghold held seats.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Omar Navarro, he's running in Maxine's district against her, and he's not a white guy, he's a Latino. And he's doing really well. Now, I know that he's running as a Republican to outseat her, but I know that Bannon's he's not one of the guys that Bannon's supporting. But we'll see. I don't know. No, I don't think so. I've done some research on this guy, and he seems to be the real deal.
Maybe looked into him, and I haven't. And yeah, all I had was the joke on that one, honestly.
No, okay.
Where were we at in this?
Yeah, we need to go back to that. Let's get back to the topic.
I honestly just, at my point of it is just the whole Dom thing is Shut it all down. Nobody in. No one. Fuck it. No one. And let's work on getting these assholes out. That's just it. And if they don't want to fucking go, we'll chuck them in a wood chipper and start fertilizing parts of America that need it desperately. Because fuck it, I'm done with this game. I'm tired of the fucking kikes. I'm tired of these fucking dual citizen fucking kikes undermining this country. I'm tired of fucking having my people shit. You're wrong just because you were born white. I even seen a fucking article today that was browbeating fucking white women that go fucking mud sharking. It doesn't absolve you from fucking racism. You're fucking a nigger, and it still doesn't mean you're not a racist.
Mm-hmm.
So why the hell would you go fucking nigger anyway? Stick with your own people.
Well, if Trump's going to do what he vows to do, I mean, oops,
Sorry, my fault.
he's going to scrap the federal immigration program that allowed this guy to get in, and the said animals, like shithead, what's his name, belong in Gitmo. And so he spoke before a cabinet meeting today, and he took on a very somber tone in the wake of the attack that left all those people dead and whatnot. And he vowed to end the State Department's diversity immigrant visa program. Saipov, that's his name. So I think he's going to. I think he's going to follow through. I really do.
I mean, interstate gambling is illegal, so I'll say I'll theoretically bet you $20 right now that Donald Trump tries to end this program, and some leftist activist judge puts a hold on this order.
How is that even legal?
It's not. Well, here's the thing I was thinking about.
B, penalty for treason is death.
Yep. Well, I like to point out to people that the only court that is mentioned in the Constitution is the Supreme Court. You don't have to have the rest of these courts. He could dissolve those sons of bitches over fucking night because he is the, branch for that. He could turn.
Just activist federal judges in Guantanamo, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more countries pop up on that list of Muslim bans.
Hell yeah.
Well, a good thing is that there were a lot of congressional Republicans that were taking aim at that program today. So and I know a lot of Republicans weren't for it in the first place.
Good. I hope that Steve, our guy King, was one of those Republicans that was taking pot shots at him.
Yes, he was. He was there. I saw him on Fox News today. Me too.
I wish he wouldn't cut when he gets attacked by the leftist media. I wish he wouldn't cut, but I think Steve King might be one of our guys.
Yep. Trump followed up with a tweet: "No more Democratic lottery." After that cabinet meeting today.
I'm completely for that. Enough.
There's a couple of things just in my show notes that I kind of want to get y'all's input on. Where he with these guns, it was a paint gun and a BB gun that kept hearing over and over and over again. I saw the video and it looked like to me he was holding a hulking gun, but it doesn't. It's not really an issue. The leftists' media's backlash against this entire thing is really telling about who it is that they support when stuff like this happens. Where number one, it's obviously some backlash that should be expected, and number two, I don't have the article in front of me, but there was an article about how thank God that this guy didn't have an assault weapon. Think about how high the death count would be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were trying to spin it that way, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to get y'all's input on that.
Oh yeah, they were fucking sitting around, you know, having masturbatory fucking dreaming about how great it would have been if 300 fucking kids would have been shot if he would have been able to get a hold of a gun in time, right?
Well, yeah. He couldn't get a gun in New York, but the guy was from Florida, so what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a really good thing. Is that he wanted to get a gun and go on a shooting spree, he could have gone to any one of the places in Florida where he first immigrated to.
Right.
I don't know. Not maybe not if he's been being investigated or has terrorist ties.
Well, he
Well, you would think that he wouldn't be let into the U.S. if he's being investigated on stereotypes, but
Then there's that too. Yeah.
so how that worked out.
well, he was driving a truck and he was fined for not having brakes on his not having the proper brakes on his truck, and he never showed up for court. So there was a warrant out for his arrest for
Well,
not
he got
showing up
that.
to court.
Yeah, but he got that taken care of later on. He paid the fine, and I have friends that are truck drivers that have had similar things happen. To me, that's kind of like a nothing burger. No offense.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering because if he did, that was probably just a misdemeanor and not a felony.
It
So
would have been a summary charge, really, because, and not only that, but I mean, you're out over the road. It's easy to forget shit, and the odds of you actually making it back for a hearing, or if you're an over the road trucker, it's probably not going to happen. Be honest about it. I mean, I have to be honest and fair about the whole thing if I'm going to be honest and fair about any of it. But as far as that goes, yeah, I mean, shit. When I had my CDL, I got fined for a crack in a fucking mirror. Right?
so that one wouldn't have raised the flag if he were to.
No, I mean that happens every day. How many people forget they have a traffic citation? That you've even personally. Oh yeah, I forgot to pay that. I got this. I need to do this, or I got to go to court because they're going to issue a warrant type thing.
Okay.
It happens to everybody eventually, or most people anyway.
But yeah, for them to be spinning it around like that, I mean, you're talking apples and oranges. It didn't happen like that.
No.
And remember, once again, if he wanted to get a gun, he could have gone to the state. If he wanted to get a gun, he could have gone to Austin that day. How many times have police all across the white Western world discovered stockpiles of weapons and explosives in mosques?
Exactly.
So no, he didn't want to shoot anybody. He wanted to run people over. There was an ISIS note found in the cab of the Home Depot truck.
Mm-hmm.
This episode of Rebels at the Roundtable brought to you by Home Depot. But they found an ISIS note in the cab of the Home Depot truck, and he didn't want to shoot anybody. He wanted to perform a peace attack because this is now ISIS's hallmark of a terror attack abroad, a terror attack in the white Western world. They don't use guns; they use truck of peace.
Yes.
How many truck of peace attacks have there been? I mean, there's been several in Sweden. There's been at least 2 that I can think of off the top of my head in France. There's been a handful in Germany. There was one in Spain, not but 3-4 weeks ago. There was one in Spain.
Yeah. Wasn't there one in London?
Yeah. There were a couple of the London Bridge attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was
And where was the Christmas market? Was that the one in Sweden?
that was in Germany.
Oh, that was in Germany.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Germany.
But yeah, no, this is their home. This is how you know that ISIS has visited your city, is if you've had a truck of peace attack.
Right.
course, we've got to ban self-driven cars. They don't want you having any kind of self-determination on the road. They want you in a control grid with spray. They've got spray quadrants set up.
Yeah.
Airborne virus.
Making the fish gay.
I've got the documents right here.
What else? What else you got?
All right. So here's apparently there were reports that came out that he was laughing, he was jovial, he was glad at the success of his truck of peace attack in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the hospital in recovery after getting shot. Just jovial about his
Oh, I don't think he'll be laughing when he gets over to Gitmo.
Yeah, I personally think we should make them wear clothes made up of pig skin.
Absolutely.
I thought you were going to say I kind of wish we'd make them wear clothes that identify that they're Muslim.
That would work too. I've actually thought about that. Just
maybe like little yellow crescent moons that they could pin onto their jackets so that you know that they're Muslim.
I'd be all right with that. I'm strangely comfortable with it.
It is agreed when we get elected, we're gonna go into the halls of Congress and push forward bills to make Muslims wear little yellow crescent stars on the lapels of their jackets.
I'd push to have the Jews wear, maybe not stars of David, but little fucking Talmudic symbols that show that they got two allegiances to two countries, so you can point them out pretty fucking quick. Do it all over again.
Let them show their dual citizenships.
Yep.
Yeah. Although I got to be honest, I'm not. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm not above making Jews wear little stars to let people know.
I have no problem with it.
Star.
I mean, I'm Irish. I wouldn't give a shit if somebody made me wear a pin that looked like a beer mug.
Oh, all right. Here's another one to show me. All right, so y'all will remember from several months back when there was a weekly terror attack in Europe, and it was hashtag pray for place, Facebook flag filters, and then lighting up buildings and monuments with the national colors of the country that just got attacked.
Yeah, well, that cucky faggotry.
Does anyone know if the White House was lit up in Halloween colors for the Home Depot Halloween truck a piece?
No. Nope.
They quit doing that thing. They dropped that cycle of thinking. I wonder rather rinse repeat. Wonder if they get out the open.
It doesn't work. It does nothing.
No, the only thing that's gonna work is mass deportation, just by the millions. That is the only thing that's gonna work.
Exactly.
Yep.
Literally 97% of people in Michigan needs to go back to wherever they came from.
Yeah, there's a lot of troublemakers in Michigan.
But I was born here. My parents were the immigrants. I was born here.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of the 14th Amendment, so you got to go back, Muhammad.
It doesn't matter. There's people who are born here who get radicalized online.
Right.
Hey, let's calm down with that whole online. That's how the alt right spreads propaganda as well. So we don't want that tool taken away from us.
Oh no.
Well, see, I don't necessarily agree that it's propaganda. Not when you can back it up with reason, evidence. You know,
This
to
is
me,
true.
that's not propaganda. That's simple fact. Sophistry is something completely different.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I don't mean propaganda in the current sense of the word that we have with all of the negative connotations attached to it. I mean propaganda as in to spread an idea, to propagate an idea.
Exactly. I just wanted to have a clarification of, you know.
Yeah, no, because I mean, what we're doing right now is a form of propaganda. It's this. I don't want to don't want to paint it in these lights, but what we're doing right now is white propaganda. Whereas you see articles about how thank God that this guy didn't have an assault weapon. That's bad propaganda.
That's real serious propaganda.
White propaganda, good propaganda. We're spreading good ideas. Good
Yeah.
ideas
Yeah.
about the United States and Europe.
I think Europe's too far gone. God damn.
I like Europe.
I do too, but it's not. Would I ever go there? Would I go to Paris? No, it's not the same.
I know, right?
Yeah, no, that would be like going to a third world country now. No thanks.
Well, you know, there is also the option of just taking all those fucking Dune Coons and throwing their ass up north where our people had to fucking originate, and we can take over where they're at. And when we make that a fucking paradise and they try to come back, we can point and say, listen, you fucking sand niggers couldn't do anything with what you had. So we gave you what we had and we rebuilt down here. And see, you still can't do anything fucking with it. Proving a point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's that. And then I mean they as soon as white people go and take over a sandy desert area and start making money hand over fist and start improving the region, as soon as glass manufacturing stocks go through the roof, they'll say, "Oh, well, white, you only you're only able to do that because white supremacy."
I know.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
Which I think is very telling because it kind of sounds like they're admitting it at this point.
Well, they are. That's see. You remember when we were last week we talked and you were laughing about the Cantwell thing? He was fucking him over by broadcasting from jail.
Yeah.
That's
Still hilarious.
right. Well, this is exactly what we're doing to them right now because no matter what we do, this is because of white supremacy, which is because whites are superior. Clearly,
True
if all you
story.
can do is bitch about how good we are at fucking doing things, up to and including taking shit from you, well then clearly you just can't fucking handle it.
The Chinese, as all of us here know, the Chinese have a population issue. They've got too many people, and for at least 30 years, I think maybe close to 40, they've had that one child policy in China.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what the Chinese have started to do is something called egg screening. Are either of you two familiar with this?
No.
I've heard of it, yeah.
All right, so egg screening is where they take eggs from a lady, and they take sperm from the man, the husband, wife, and they fertilize all of the eggs of that woman. You only get one kid, and they DNA test the fertilized eggs. I'm probably doing a terrible job explaining this, and there's probably going to be some kind of one of the science boffins that explains exactly why I'm wrong about this process. But in layman's terms, the way that I understand it, they take all of these fertilized eggs, they genetically screen them, to find the ones that have high propensity of cancer, or find the ones that might have a low IQ, or find the ones that might have an increased risk of birth defect or something like that. They screen all of those out, and they take only the highest quality egg, fertilized egg, and then implant that into the wife's uterus, so that she will give birth to a child that, for all intents and purposes, has won the genetic lottery, right? So in 20, 30 years, it wouldn't surprise me if you started to see the national IQ of China rise dramatically, because they're practicing what is sort of a soft form of eugenics,
Mm-hmm.
where they're getting, creme de la creme babies.
Hmm.
So what worries me is that, because whites as a whole generally tend to have slightly lower IQs than East Asian. But if they get to a point where they're 20, 30, 40 points of IQ ahead of us on average, that's really troubling. And whites are good in a lot of fields, and whites have a lot of genetic advantages when it comes to traits that you would select for a person to be a conqueror, pioneer, or an imperialist. And if we start to fall behind in the genes race, we might lose a lot of that edge. And it's all because, can't have eugenics. Can't have a program because Hitler did eugenics.
Correct. And then there's the fact that they want us to fucking mix race with people that's IQs are generally lower than a fucking chimpanzee, because that's cultural enrichment,
National, yeah. No, I'm sure those people in New York City feel so enriched by the Uzbeki culture.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Chucky Schumer talking here, Coy. Pictures. What the fuck is this? This just popped up. British village prepares to burn 36-foot effigy of Harvey Weinstein. That's capital.
Oh, I saw that.
That's fucking comedy.
For the Jews to start convincing about that. Oh God, you're burning us again. Oh God.
I got gas, Goy, coming into the chamber. Come on in, you fucking kike. Oh.
So I will say, you have any more show notes, Sam?
I'm actually good.
I've got I've got a whole page here, and we've only gone through a couple of them. As far as I know, we're running over schedule.
Oh, okay.
But the other thing that I had here is that the alt-right did the nationwide flyering campaign, where people were, randomly, anonymously putting up flyers all over areas in the United States that say it's okay to be white.
I've seen that. That's awesome.
Now, I know that it doesn't seem like this ties into this Home Depot Halloween truck of peace tax, but it's one of those little moments of synchronicity where you've got a foreigner and a Muslim doing something terrible in a country that was founded by and for white people. So you've got people. If anyone in a major urban city saw one of those flyers the day after this truck of peace attack by a Muslim, it makes me hope that this waking up process begins to accelerate.
Yeah, myself as well. I'd like to see it fucking take the hell off.
Because as many as many jokes as we might make about helicopters or
Right. I'm only half joking, by the way.
I know, right? Like that's the thing is that it's a joke with a wink and a nod. Yeah, no. As many jokes as we make, I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to do this violence.
I agree.
And we're being pushed into that point where it, you know, a lot of people are saying, all right, when are we when are we going to hit the streets? When are we going to start pulling trigger? And I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen.
I
I don't want a bunch of white people kill a bunch of other white people in the United States or any Western country. I don't want that to happen. We are already only 8% of the total world population.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will not hesitate to defend myself. So if it comes to that, it will be in defense of my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, and I support you 100%. But you got to remember that you're dealing with a group of people who think that their violence, their political violence, their terrorism is free speech, and your words are violence.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up again, Seema, because I'd mentioned that before. And when you were talking, I pulled up that, for me, a rather lengthy rant that I typed out, and I put, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it is, I was pretty pissed off when I read it. And I put, let me find a good place to start. I said, we should remove any that would remove by proxy you and those like you that dare ask a question or live peacefully according to their own morals without harming another, that dare to live that dare to believe that they own themselves and by that standard road to keep only which they produce or trade for. I said the system's set to create a fall guy for their blame game, thus they will continue to push this false flag, kill Whitey, breed him out, Sharia law, one world order, fiat currency, one world boot on a one world neck. I will not stand by and allow my race to be wiped out just because we see through the illusion. I will not allow my children and my brothers to be bred out of existence. And I put, read this clearly and carefully. I will do whatever I deem needed to protect my children's future and my people's children, no matter the cost to me. Is that clear now? And I go off. And it just comes up. I said, I do not want to do this, to have to do this, but I'm resolved to carry it through if I am forced. Such is my will, my resolve, and my resolve. I beseech you, filth, not to test it. With many or alone, I will do my utmost to keep my people alive, and I truly, for the first time, understand the core of my very selves, the idea of white pride. That is the gift I have received from the duplicitous Jacobites today, and I never gave race a thought until it was constantly shoved in my face. Congratulations, meat sack. You're creating the monsters you claimed that were after you. You, the aggressor, have set the rules. And, it just goes on, I put, I wish peace, but I'm ready for war. Now beware you warmongers, influence peddlers, professional con men, you spineless politicians, you welfare whores, SJW cunts, Antifa scum, and any other form of filth that demands to live off another's teat. The countdown has begun, so screw your courage as it is to the sticking place, and girt thyself, for we are coming. You have now been warned. I don't want to have to do this.
Well, I think we found the episode for tonight's, or I think we found the title for tonight's episode.
Oh yeah?
A one world boot on a one world net.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Yeah.
that's a real good one. That's a real good one. I'll have to change that whenever it gets posted up.
Yeah, yeah, no, but I couldn't agree with you more. And I don't want to have to do this. I can't say that enough. Mickey, it seems like you can't say that enough. I don't want to have to do this. You fucking you degenerate leftist Jewish communists are pushing and pushing and pushing, and the white race, the white man, is about to reach his limit. There's a line, and I don't know where it comes from. I know I've heard Cantwell use it a bunch, and I know I've seen it in memes a bunch. Don't make the white kids angry.
Right.
Don't you're asking the same people that developed industrialized warfare. You're pushing them to the corner, and I don't want to. I don't want to have to shed blood. I don't
Right.
want to have to kill people. I especially don't want to have to kill my own whites. Even if they are leftist, degenerate, trans scum. I don't want to have to do that. But it seems like there are a lot of us in the alt-right who are, hitting weights, hitting in the gym, learning various forms of martial arts, learning hand-to-hand combat, learning how to use a gun if we don't already know how to use a gun. They're there are alt-right guys who go to the gym and call themselves part of the Luftwaffe.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
I missed something.
the Nazi Air Force is called the Luftwaffe.
I'm slowly edging over to the far right, but
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm getting there. You know that, Simo.
I don't think I have anything but love and admiration for you, Sharon.
Thank you, dear.
Well, Simi, when you were out walking the furry babies, I had read something to Sharon. I take it you know who Robert E. Howard is. He was the creator of Conan and Call the Conqueror and all that. Do you know who I'm talking about? Okay. He wrote I personally, don't get it twisted, I like the Conan novels. I like, the gritty, dark story, but I was actually really enamored of him for his poetry. And the one poem that he wrote that I think really suits, like I was explaining to Sharon earlier, my attitude about everything with this is called The Last Briton. And if I may, I'll just read it on the program here. It is The Last Briton by Robert E. Howard. The sea is gray in the death of day. Behind me lifts the night. I'll flee no more from the ancient shore, where first I saw the light. The Saxons come and the Saxons go with the ebb and flow of the tide. Their galleys loom, grim ships of doom, but here shall I abide. My castles rust in crimson dust, red ruins tossed in the drift. But the sea is grey, and the wolves at bay, and the ravens circle swift. Come from the mists of the northern sea, where the smoke blue hazes melt. Your dead shall lie, where here I die, the last unconquered Celt.
I love that. You should read that at the end of every podcast. I love it.
That holds a special meaning for me, like I was explaining to you, Sharon. It's just, I knew I was a Celt. I mean, I'm Gael to the bone. We've talked about this privately and such.
Mm-hmm.
But until I actually read that, it stirred in my heart a pride of being of specific people. and knowing that I'm 100% belong to that genetic strain, and my children are 100% of that genetic strain. And there's a culture and there's a system of belief that goes to it. And my forefathers had magnificent military battles, victories and defeats and engineering marvels. And, it was the Scots and the Irish that pretty much helped settle the fucking United States, from the Industrial Revolution. And we fucking all kinds of shit. The steam engine, right? It's just, and very few things stir me quite as much as, say, this going to the sea, because going to the sea always makes me homesick for a place that probably doesn't even exist. But I think it just harkens back to a day where men were free. They owned their words. They lived their life by their honor, their wits, their skill, and the pride of the tribe and the clan. Should be family, tribe, clan, country, in that fucking order. And together that way, as a whole, I personally believe, creates a nation and a people. That's fucking hard to destroy. That's really hard to destroy.
Are you telling me that you have a culture and an identity?
Yes, heaven forfend, right?
Well, I was learning in college the other day that white people have no culture.
How's that right? Well, then what the hell would I know, right?
Yeah. Well, what would you, a proud Celt, what would you know about culture at all?
Right? Oh my gosh.
You did stop handing out Ulysses to be as standard reading.
What I think is really cool is, they have those genetic marker tests you can send out and get back and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I actually have, and my children now. My wife doesn't have it, but all my children have it. Is there's a particular genetic marker from the Pict people, the Pictish people, and I have that. So fucking hell, that's going back a distance.
Yeah, because they haven't been called the Picts in 1,300 years
At least.
Those are the ethnic Scots, by the way, for people who aren't familiar with the British history.
Right. And it's a very specific genetic marker that comes from central western Scotland, which is where I was actually originally born, which would be Glencoe, and I have that marker. Bully for me.
Bully for you.
It means that you know where your people come from, which is something that a lot of Americans can't say, because Americans are, I think white Americans will someday eventually be recognized as their own ethnic class, like the Boer people of South Africa. They're a mix of the Dutch, the Germans, and the French, and yet they are their own distinct ethnicity after having been there for close to 500 years now.
I mean, there's a certain pride that goes with that.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's one of my hands telling me that it's time for some attention.
Yeah, we should probably wrap this up, because I think we're a whole bloody hour almost over.
Yeah.
Time. We'll have people complaining. Listen, guys, hey, thanks. I think tonight's went even better than the first one.
I do too. I had a good time. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right, and let's try and actually off air get together again sometime during the week. If you see me on, just give me a holler. I have no problem popping up on Google Hangouts at all.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Yeah.
Do you have a disclaimer that you want to,
I posted it in the comment section, at the beginning of that. So if they can't feckin' read, that's their own problem. Try Hooked on Phonics.
fair enough. This is Citizen Morris, and I don't have a script. Gentlemen, that's the end of the show.
Thank you, folks, and good night.
Good night.
Okay, and we're out.
So we're not live, right?
No.
How come it says live up there,
Where?
up in the right-hand corner?
Well, then I better fucking put a stop to it, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, now. Come on, now. Okay, hold on a second. Maybe we should just let's all exit out, and then I'll call you right back.
Okay.
And then I'll edit this in a minute.
All right. Okay.
All right.